What's up, everyone? This is Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Off the Wall, and today I'm going to be talking about a vinyl in my collection that's just like very special to me. It's one of my favorite artists. Like, I go to bat for this artist anytime. It's probably one of my favorite albums. Period. Like, not just in my collection because it's cool or it's historic just in music, but this one is probably one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. And this week is just dedicated to the women. So every day I'm gonna be releasing new video content, whether it's off the wall, flowers, Tatum takes, f this review. It's all gonna be centered around women in music because I feel like something I wanted to do this year was just highlight some women also in music. Like I feel like I do a lot of male reviews and analysis, and I just wanted to give some females some recognition as well. So this week is all about the women, and I'm starting with one of my favorite artists. Period. Uh, Today, Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. They tried to make me go to Back to Black is. I wish I had the original cover with just her with the chalkboard behind her. That one's a little bit like harder to find, a little bit more expensive. This one is obviously mass produced. Uh, and it's like it don't really have anything in it. I think they should re-release it and add some more stuff to it, a booklet or something. But all in all, it's still one of my favorite albums ever. This album is just so it's kind of eerie listening back to it or just listen to it period because obviously RIP Amy Winehouse, but it's like the album was kind of like sort of like a what's the word I'm looking for? It was detrimental to her as well as how great it was. So it's kind of like bittersweet and eerie when I listen to it, or even like what's the name of that? I have an Amy Winehouse documentary movie that I can like not even look at because it just makes me sad. But this album kind of puts me in that mood again. But it's just so dope that I had to talk about it. So let's get into it. I'm gonna put this album behind me, and we're gonna get into Amy Winehouse Back to Black. This album to me, well, this album in general, not just to me, but it has like this. I just label it as like a '60s dark heartbreak album. I read that while she was dating Blake, the guy, which pretty much this album is about, the bar or pub she used to hang out at used to like play '60s music all the time, like Motown stuff and things of that nature. So she was inspired by that when she finally sat down and make the album. And it's like I love Amy Winehouse because like she's one of those artists that's just, for lack of better words, real. Like most female artists, males included as well, it's you can feel like a facade. Most of it is a facade. Like even their love songs is a facade. Uh, it's so polished up that you don't even know who they are, what that song could mean to them. Like that song could went to anybody from blase blah to blase blah. They're just singing it in this moment of time, and it's like very surface level love songs. So it's no depth to it, no real depth to it. So when I'm listening to this album, one of the things I love about Amy Winehouse just in general is that I ain't never heard no female spit like this. Like it's kind of like so uh I wouldn't say harsh, but it's just so in your face, and like the things that even like on her first album Frank, when she got uh not Take the Box, what's the joint? Love is Blind. Like I ain't never heard a female make a song like that. Like we getting around to that more often now, but back in the early 2000s that wasn't even a thing. Like she's one of the first artists I heard, just my opinion, that like really spoke. It could have been a male in a way. Like just the not giving a fuckness, and this is my feelings and this is how I feel. So that's what drew me to Amy Winehouse in the first place. Producers she worked with on this album, Salaam Remi, one of her go-to producers, and Mark Ronson. I heard her and Mark Ronson got together because they were in the same like publishing company, and people connected them together, like you should work with him and you should work with her kind of thing. And it was a story about when they were making Rehab, how they made Rehab. They were walking and she was just telling him the story of like when she was going through her bouts of alcoholism. Uh, then she was like, they tried to make me go to rehab, and I said, no, no, no. And he was like, in his words, he said like, that sounds like a hook. Like we should go back to the studio and make that a song. Like that's like God in a way, and even like rehab in a way is just like, man, I'd rather be at home with Ray, like like Ray Charles and shit. Like I ain't got 17 days. I'm gonna lose my baby. Like you ain't never heard a woman make a song like that. You rarely hear anyone make a song like that, but you never heard a woman make a song like they try to make me go to rehab. And to start the album off with rehab, and it's so funny that it's a commercial hit, and that song is about rehab. like those subjects usually don't don't become pop songs and things of that nature. But it also shows that a lot of people have drug problems and alcohol problems, and rehab just relates to a lot of people. But to start the album off with that it just lets you know where she was at. Like what was it? Probably like 3 or 4 years since Frank dropped, and her like this is the first thing that we got from her. Is just like fucking ridiculous. And you listen to songs like I'm no good. It's like she could put you. When I listen to that song in the last verse, I feel like I'm in the bathroom when her boyfriend sees the rug burns on her knees. Like, and then this little carpet burn. She paints the picture so vividly that it's just amazing storytelling. Like she's a great poet. Like she could put you right there. And even that song subject is just like, I told you that I was no good. like to say that to someone is just it's just crazy. I'm doing what I told you I would do. I told you the shit that you were getting into when you got into it, and I did what I said I was gonna do. Like it's just like it's just so great. And then to go into Me and Mr. Jones, which is about Nas, and I always think like, damn, Nas, what did Khalees think when this song came out? Like, because you could take it as just on a I guess platonic level, but with the lines that she say, like, what kind of fuckery are we? Nowadays you don't mean dick to me. I might let you make it up to me. Who's playing Saturday? Like nowadays you don't mean dick to me. That shit is just so ice cold. Like, she like just went on him and everything. Was like, yeah, I might let you make it up to me. Like, and just like I was looking at a Genius, and I didn't know that part was the hook. Did you know that? Like, what kind of fuckery are you? Like, all those parts to say that, they got that counted as the chorus. I think they just had to put it. No, it just said chorus. Like, I was like, that. I don't think that type of song has a hook. I think it's just like more of a feeling kind of thing, and even like relating to Mr. Destiny 9 and 14. Nobody stands in between me and my man. Like that shit is like that shit is so fucking dope. And Nas, you shouldn't have stood her up. That was the fucking Slick Rick show, man. What the fuck? One of the things I also love about Amy Winehouse, like I said, her poetry, but it's like most of the time the lyrics not even rhyming. Like it's more just a feeling more than anything. Like the way that she could bring you in, and like this is a pop smash, critically acclaimed, Grammy Award winning album, and it's not catchy. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's all just strictly poetry. Like there's certain lines on here, and I'll get to, but there's certain lines on here that's just like pierces the heart in a way. And to come after like the sequencing I also wanted to get into on this album is just amazing. So to go from I'm no good to Me and Mr. Jones, right, when she talking about Nas, and then the song after that is Just Friends. Like, when will we get the chance to be just friends? And she has a line in there in the second verse, and I know I'm not ashamed, but the guilt will kill you if she don't first. I'll never love you like her. Even though we need to find just to do this, even though we got to find the time to do this shit together before it gets worse. Like that shit is like, like that the sequence of that is just perfect if you're just to tell the story of the album. And like I said, man, she's a fucking gangster. Like, and no, I'm not ashamed, but the guilt will kill you if she don't first. Like, come on, man. And then like I think Salaam Remy did that beat, but the snares and horn section at the bun dun 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 bun dun 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 dun. That part is just like where it's like a verse in itself. That shit is like always love when the music can can paint a picture of its own, and you don't have to have any words, but the music itself has the lyrics, bears emotion that sounds like lyrics. That shit always gets me. So that's one of my favorite ones on the album, even though that song don't even get a lot of love. When I was looking at this stuff and seeing the stats on certain songs, that one had the least amount of stats, which is crazy. Like, to go from that, Me and Mr. Jones, back, Just Friends, into Back to Black, that's literally a straight correlation to her ex-boyfriend Blake, because, you know, if you don't know backstory, this album was created because basically what she talks about in Back to Black, you know, they were together and then he went back to his ex-girlfriend, so that just left her in a fucking terrible state. Well, she was in a terrible state with him, to be honest, from my opinion. But it also, that happened and also allowed her to get healthy and create this album. She went to Miami to work with Salam Remy, and she only recorded 10 days in Miami for the songs that he did. He did 5 songs on this album, and they recorded in 10 days. And from what I understand, it didn't take her long to lay vocals. Like, she would lay vocals one time. Like, they would start at 12 and be done by 8. Like, and she would just write the songs, lay the verse and hooks and everything, and it'd be done. Like, she's that great of a fucking vocalist. Like, I don't think she gets the credit as a vocalist as I think she should, because, like, she got some of the best vocals I ever heard, just from range and emotion. Like, it's sometimes hard to find a singer who has both, but she has both. And she can write. Like, she like the triple combo. But Back to Black is one of those songs that's just like, when you hear it, it just sinks you into a place. And like I said, the hook is amazing. It doesn't even rhyme. We only say goodbye with words. I cried 100 times. You go back to her and I go back to black. That doesn't even rhyme. Like, but to say, like, we only say goodbye with words. Like, I think that's like the most, like, what's the word I'm looking for? That's like words that straight hit you straight in the heart. Like, it is no, like, visceral. Yes, it's very visceral. Like, it hits you straight where it needs to. Like, if she didn't say anything else besides that we only said goodbye with words, I died 100 times. Like, that shit is like, whoa. Like, you go back to her and I go back to black, which is like, in the video they depict like a funeral in a way. But I also thought, from a marketing standpoint, I remember cutting school and with my friend, and we went to Georgetown to get clothes and things of that nature. Sorry. But and they had the poster up in the wall of one of those, I think it was like a bookstore or something, and it was like the background. So I thought Back to Black meant just like back to the basic kind of thing. But, you know, that was probably just a marketing thing now that I look back at it. And they were like comparing it. I remember exactly how they were comparing it to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So that's another thing that made me just like gravitate to this album. I got to check this out, because you don't get compared to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill if just off some whack stuff. Like, they wouldn't do that. I don't think anyone would do that. But Tears Dry on Their Own is like the remake of the Marvin Gaye and what is it, Tammy Terrell, or is it? I think it's Tammy Terrell. Like, she say, all I ever could be to you is darkness that we know, and this regret I've got accustomed to. Once was worth the right when we were at our height, waited for you in the hotel at night. I knew I had him at my match, but every moment we get snatched. I don't know why I got so attached. It's my responsibility, and you don't owe nothing to me but to walk away. I have no capacity. Jesus Christ. like, whoa. Like, to make that even flow in a verse to sound good, and you said that poetic bombshell shit is just fucking ridiculous. Like, that's the type of shit, like, I'm drawn to just writers, bro, and like that writing is just next level. And then the second verse, pardon me, but you got to understand, like I said, this is probably one of my top 10 albums of all time, so I got to find out when I'm giving appreciation to it. So it's like, the second verse was like, I don't understand, why do I stress the man when there's so many bigger things at hand? We could have never had it all, but we had to hit a wall, so this is inevitable overdraw. Even if I stop wanting you and perspective pushes through, I'll be some next man's other woman soon. And then I play myself again. I should just be my own best friend, not fuck myself in the head with a stupid man. Like, what? Oh, sorry. Yeah, withdraw. Yeah. Oops, fixed it. My favorite part of that is just, even if I stop wanting you, the perspective pushes through.
That perspective pushes through. I'll be some next man's other woman.
Like, she pushed that into a line. Like, even if I stop wanting you, the perspective pushes through. Like, it's just to have that conversation with yourself. And I can't obviously I can't speak from a woman's standpoint or point of view on this, but just like I said, I don't hear a lot of that in like probably more in this time because we got like women empowerment and everything, and women are more vocal and outspoken, and which they should be, and express their feelings a little bit more. But in this time, I ain't hear no shit like that. Like that's like we always got the gloss over women records. I'm heartbroken. Uh, love. I don't know. Didn't work. Like it's always just surface level, but to go into depth of just that and that hook is just goddess level. Like he walks away, the sun goes down. He takes the day, but I'm grown. Like in your way, in your deep shade, my tears dry on their own.
My tears dry on their own.
I was in high school listening to that, like, man, this shit is ridiculous. Wake Up Alone and Some Unholy Warfare, those are probably two of my favorite songs on the album. And again, like her, just to point out her poetry, what's going on in here. He gets fierce in my dream and sees in my guts. He floods me with dread, soaked to the soul. He swims in my eyes by the bed. Pour myself over him, moon spilling in, and I wake up alone. Like, and it's a acoustic version that's on I think it's either on the B sides of Back to Black or on the Lioness album, but that one is so fucking dope as well.
And I wake up alone.
That's just so like it's just so like you can hear the heartbreak and you can hear just the pure emotion in that shit, and like to go from that Wake Up Alone into Some Unholy Warfare, Unholy War, excuse me, it's just a perfect sequence for me. Like soon as that song drops out, to go dun 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 dun. Just to give that, I love 60s music. Like I just love the quality of sound that came with 60s music. One of my favorite quotes from that song was like, "Put it in writing, but who you writing for? It's just us on the kitchen floor." Like, I think that's just I don't like. Looking back at him, like, is that talking to herself? Like, put it in writing, but who you writing for? Like, because I'm not sure if he was a writer in a way, but like, it was that a line like to herself, like speaking to herself. He still stands in spite of what his scar says, and I'll battle until this bitter finale.
And I'll battle till this bitter finale.
And she made that curve and rhyme, and I'll battle until this bitter finale. Like that shit is just so fucking RP, man. Like shit like that is just like the writing is just, I can't like emphasize enough how great that writing is. Like, and the soundtrack that Salaam Remi and like I said before, Mark Ronson gave to her, it just fits so perfectly. Like it was no mistake on this album. Like no part, no bad vocal, no bad bar, no bad part of the beat. Like nothing dragged. Like everything is just perfect, and you barely get that. And then to go into, because she was dating someone new around this time she was making the album, and to have like He Can Only Hold Her, and like what did she say? Like, even if she's content in his warmth, she's plagued with urgency.
She is played with urgency.
Searching kisses the man she misses, the man he longs to be. Like, you know how crazy that is for her to be like, how can you have her heart when it got stole? like, so no matter, like, that's just a dope conundrum, and the awareness of just like, I know what I might be putting you through, and just know it's not talking to the guy that she's with. It's not sure. It's nothing like. It's like kind of feeling bad for him, like, because there's nothing that you could do that could fix. Even though how much you try to pacify it and everything else, there's nothing that you could possibly do to fix a heart that's been stolen. And she's still thinking about the last guy she was with. She's not fully over that guy. And some people will be in relationships after they get out of a relationship, and they'll just string the person along. That I guess they would call it the rebound in a way, and knowing damn well that they're still, if they're not physically invested, mentally and heart and spiritually invested in the person they would just pass with. So like, just to have that understanding, and you can do what you want to do after that. Like, that's like kind of being the ultimate honest to the person that you're with. Like, I'm telling you this right now, basically going back to what I said in fucking you know that I'm no good. Like, I told you. Like, you can't say I ain't tell you. Like, I told you. And then it's like over this illustrious kind of hip hop beat. And then it's kind of like I always feel sad for the guy that I don't even know because it's like, damn, man, how can you even have her heart? Like, the way that she say it is like, how can you even have her heart, bro? Like, when it got stole. So he tries to pacify her because what's inside her never dies. Like, whoa. Like, whoa. And who knows? If he sticks around and put enough time, he might can replenish that heart. Like, so he tries to pacify her because what's inside her never dies. You know what I mean? So, like, it's so complex and just dope on so many levels that it's just that's one of the Jews on here. Addiction is also dope. I want to brush over that. Like, it was just not like I think they had to end the album with Addiction because like we gotta lighten this up at some point. Let me get into my best songs, favorite songs on the album. I'm gonna go with "Wake Up Alone," "Unholy War," and "Tears Dry on Their Own." Honorable mentions though, I'm gonna go with "Valerie," the acoustic version, and "Best Friends," the acoustic version, because Best Friends is so fucking dope. Worst song, I'm gonna just go with "Addicted," even though there's no bad song in this album. I just think in the context of all the songs that's on this album, that's probably the least it's just the least impactful one to me. That song sounded like the record label put that on there to say, like, just to have a happy song at the end to me. A best line, I believe it's from Love is a Losing Game. Well, it is from Love is a Losing Game, but it's though I battle blind, love is a fate resigned. Memories mar my mind. Love is a fate resigned. Over futile odds and laughed at by the gods. And now in the final frame, love is a losing game. What? What? Though I battle blind, love is a fate resigned. Memories mar my mind. Love is a fate resigned. What? In closing, though, man, this album, like I said, one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. I'll put this album up against anything. Like I said, it's still bittersweet just because if you know the backstory behind the album, you know it was kind of detrimental as well. The love albums are always going to be the best ones, like because they always just everybody's been through love, everybody's been through heartbreak, everybody's been through turmoil with love. Everybody is just so relatable, and like I said, the writing on here is just next level, and the fact that she wrote it all herself, just with two producers, just shows you how great she was. She died young, 27. Like, she won a Grammy and wasn't even allowed in the States. Like, I remember watching the Grammys when she won and was just, and she was with her mom, and they had the telecast from overseas, and she wasn't even allowed in the States. So just like, man, this album just means a lot. Like, I think you can see a lot of people from the Amy Winehouse tree now. I don't know if they admit it or not, but I can see a lot of people off the Amy Winehouse tree, and she's off a tree herself. She's off the 60s tree, the Lauryn Hill trees, the Sarah Vaughan trees. It's like a classical jazz. It's like a jazz singer in a way, and it's just so dope, man. Like I said, I'll put this album up against anything. I'm happy to have it in my collection. R.I.P. to the Queen, Amy Winehouse, always. Every time I listen to this album, it feels like I'm listening to it for the first time, and I'm rewinding shit like, oh my gosh. Love is a Losing Game, run it back. Unholy War, run in the back. Wake Up Alone, rewind in the back. It's just so many. It's just, even the singles I rewind back. I'm No Good and Rehab, I'm still rewinding back and listening to this day. You know how sometimes you get an album and the singles just too much and you got to skip them? I'm listening to them all. So, I'm Tatum. It's Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. It's time to put this record back on my wall.